the road again. I'm back out on my CB. Well, for those of you who have watched any of my previous videos, you'll notice I'm riding in a slightly different place, and that's because I've moved house. I've moved out to a little village in Huntingdonshire, or around Huntingdon in Cambridgeshire, which is absolutely lovely. It's got some wonderful roads and things like that, and I've moved in with my other half, and we've basically spent the past month sorting out moving two households into one and all the fun and joy that comes with doing that, but that's all done now. And now I'm riding out to a bike meet to go and play with other motorcyclists because it's fun. And of course I'm out on the CB650R because why wouldn't you? I've not done a lot of riding over the past month at all. As you can imagine, my focus has been exclusively on the house moves and bits like that. But it's such a nice day. It's lovely. It's hot. Like, it's hot. Mesh jacket, you know, lightweight gloves and jeans, and I'm still cooking. So a couple of my mates will be out in their gimp suits on their super sports melting. Which I shouldn't say anything because I want to get one. But not anytime soon. I've been looking at what I want to do with bikes and bits like that, and I think there's some choices to be made, because I've got the Triumph Tiger as a commuter, but I'm not commuting anymore. I've got this one as a first big bike, but I'm not really, there's options around that. But God, this is nice. Oh, it's nice to stretch your legs a little bit, isn't it? It's a good hour's ride. So yeah, anyway, back to it. So I don't know if you know, my other half, she dropped her Lexmoto ZSR, her little Lexmoto bike, her 125. So I've sorted that out. One of the big developments for the new house is I've now got a double garage rather than a single garage, so more space for toys, which is always a bonus. And the first toy that I've got is a bike lift, which is awesome. So my XS400 is currently on the bike lift, awaiting some much needed wiring and other internals, and I might get to make a few videos riding that baby out. Hello, mate. She's riding lovely. She's very much due her service though. Very much in need of a service now. Not because there's any problems, just because she's due one. I'm about 100 miles out of needing the full service, and I'm going to get Honda to do it on this one just to keep the warranty, but I think that should be alright. So I wanted to talk about the CB650R as your first big bike. I've now had this for about a year. I've put 6,000 miles on it, which I'd like to have put more on it, but I've also got the Triumph Tiger, which I use for a lot of commuting and stuff like that, and I've put about 6,000 to 7,000 miles on that bike. It was 7,000, I think. But in terms of your first big bike, if you want a naked bike as your first big bike, I can't recommend this thing enough. I really have found it to be a fantastic tool to learn on, and just amazing, like absolutely fucking amazing. And it turns heads, and it still turns heads. Like even now, where it's been sat in my garage, I haven't cleaned it, I haven't really looked after it for about 6 weeks or anything like that, and she's proper grubby, proper mucky, but it still puts a smile on people's faces. And you can't argue with that, can you? God, this place is lovely. Look at this. So I've gone from living in Milton Keynes to living here. Isn't that nice? Honest governor, he was behaving. Slight bad stuff about moving house. I managed to nudge my back, so I threw my back out, so I've got to wear a back brace at the moment to be able to ride and well, I could probably ride without the back brace, but I would suffer for the rest of the week if I did at the moment. I just need to give myself a chance to fully heal, but it'll not take too long for it to get back to where I should be. This junction's a bit of a bugger, but it's not usually too bad. And yeah, it's just in general, I don't know, things are going alright. It's work's a bit manic at the moment. There's lots going on, keeping it all a bit mental, but yeah. Anyway, so this bike is first big bike. What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? My honest advice for anybody looking to get into this class of motorcycle or anything like that, anything around the 650 mark, you know, or 700cc, that sort of ballpark, I think is going to be a sweet spot. Especially, you know, and there's a lot to be said, and I'll come on to it in a bit about what I'm thinking might be my next bike to progress on. But I do think the inline 4 as your first bike is actually not a bad shout, because, you know, whilst when I do just roll on the throttle like that, it does accelerate reasonably. It doesn't kind of blow your socks off. It's not trying to pull your arms out your sockets, and it will keep you out of trouble to some extent. Whereas, you know, you can get the, you know, parallel twins and bits like that where they've got a lot more torque, and torque's where the acceleration is essentially. And it's more, you know, you can have a fast bike or you can have, you know, a quick bike off the mark. And well, you know, that's not saying that parallel twins aren't fast or anything like that. It's more that the parallel twins, my understanding is that they're gonna get off the line really quick, particularly in comparison to an inline 4, and then you've got that whole triple segment. Thank you very much. I thank you kindly. Oh, look at all these lovely people. Aren't they all just wonderful human beings today? Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, that's not worked out very well for anybody, has it? But yeah, so going back, obviously I've got a triple which is in the Triumph Tiger, very different style bike. It's an adventure bike, but what I have found is the triple's got that lovely kind of, it's got a little bit low down grunt, and it's got the kind of top end, and I see that as a kind of the middle ground. But I've been thinking about what I want to do with it for the next bike, and I'm not there yet, but I'd quite like to go for something like KTM Duke 890 or something like that. I think that could be quite a lot of fun. And whilst the CB is very, very refined, I mean, it's so well put together and it's such a nice bike to ride and everything like that, there is an element where it is almost too prim and proper. I don't, in terms of mannerisms and behaviour and everything like that. I kind of quite like something a little bit more hooligan-y, and KTM just, I'd imagine it would fit that sort of brand. That's not to say like I'm going to rule out anything. I think the MT-09's potentially a good shout, and various other bikes like that, and I'm certainly going to go out and test ride some of them before I make any decisions, but I'm considering it. I've not made my decision up to get rid of this one, but on the flip side is I would like something which is a little bit more, how do you say, daft. Something which is just a little tiny bit more strung out, maybe. Mostly because it will be hilarious, and you can make some interesting videos on it. But yeah, that's so what have I covered off? New house. I don't know if I said in the previous video, I bought myself a 1999 Land Rover Defender, so that's another project that I've got, which is going to be definitely a fixer-upper. She's got 176,000 miles on the clock, and about a ton of her body weight is rust. So yeah, what pros of using this CB650R as your first bike? As I said before, it's quite a forgiving engine in terms of low down power and that side of things. The build quality is phenomenal. I think it's really well put together. I've not had any problems. The only thing I did is I added that little stability mod on the gear shifter. I was thinking about doing an upgrade, so I'm thinking about doing the belly pan or a quick shifter. So I might see, I don't know how to do it on YouTube, but I might see about doing it on a poll and asking people what you think I should put on there, whether or not my next mod should be a quick shifter or a belly pan. So because it's an up only quick shifter, which, you know, in itself would be quite cool and useful. Oh, lorry. Isn't it nice when there's always one person not paying attention? It always seems to give you a gap to go through, doesn't it? Would I buy this bike again if I was starting over? That's an interesting one, because I still love the look and sound of the MT-07. But I do think I would end up going back to this one. I don't think I'd do it in red. I know it's a pretty colour and everything like that, but I got this because it was a deal. I actually wanted the blue one. I think that this bike in blue just looks phenomenal. The denim blue, I think it is. Yeah, and basically, as a, you know, my first big bike at the age of 40-ish. Yeah, I think this was a very, very good choice. I can honestly say I haven't had a bad day's ride on it, even when I did have that problem with the wiring that I caused. Be under no illusion, that's nothing to do with Honda, that was a me thing. It was still a good ride, even though I had a problem. So yeah, it's very much... I do wholeheartedly recommend this bike to anybody who's looking to get their first big bike, or if someone's just looking for a cool neo-retro naked. I think this is one of the cooler looking bikes out there still. There's a couple coming out. I really like the new Ducati adventure bike with the twin headlights, and I like the look of adventure bikes, but I think that's something to do with my age. I like the Tenere 700 and stuff like that. I think they're just very cool looking bikes and toys, but I think something a little bit more a little bit less refined might be in my future. I'd quite like to go for something that's just a bit more batshit crazy, basically. And let's face it, there's plenty of options out there, but you know, if my experience warranted it, I would probably say I'd like to go for the Super Duke R or something like that. But honestly, I've got a year or a little over a year of riding bikes this size. I think that's just not a great decision. Yeah, I'm sure there's people out there who've done it, who've upgraded to monster sized bikes and been perfectly fine. That's absolutely great. I don't think I've got the self-control or the self-discipline, if I'm completely honest with you. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. I hate fucking sneezing in motorcycle helmets. There you go. Hay fever and motorcycles, what a wonderful combination that is.